for joining us. Sonia, to you first of all, what on earth is happening to your party?
Well, I think there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes, actually. So there'll be many in the party who are desperately hoping that Corbyn will resign and stand down. And that would be an infinitely preferable situation, I think, for most people in Labour who are hoping that Corbyn will go, than seeing a leadership challenge mounted by either Angela Eagle or Owen Smith. So there's a lot of, I mean, we're obviously seeing some of it in the public domain. We've seen Angela Eagle say today, reiterate her saying that if Corbyn doesn't stand down, she will mount the leadership challenge. But there's an awful lot going on behind the scenes, people trying to persuade Jeremy Corbyn that the time has come for him to go. He's lost the support of 80% of the Parliamentary Labour Party. There's lots of MSPs, lots of MEPs who said they've not got confidence on him. It's just very hard to see how he can continue to lead the party.
How are you interpreting it, Matt?
Well, I just think it just goes to show that the Labour Party can't even get rid of their leader properly. The main reason that Jeremy Corbyn is there is because this time last year, the Labour Party couldn't put up anybody decent to become leader. There was this sort of bandwagon built up around him because he was at least alternative and different. He won in September last year. Nothing that the Labour Party, what remains of the Labour Party MPs are against him, nothing that they've said or done in the last week suggests that he's going anywhere. They can't even decide who should stand against him or if they're going to stand against him at all. And if they couldn't do it last week was probably I think was probably the critical moment. He survived another week. We've got Chilcot this week. Summer recess is looming. There's a real danger that they will have missed this opportunity again, and Corbyn will feel even stronger in his position.
Sonia, I mean, does he just have skin like a rhino, or does he have a point?
Well, I think there's an issue with Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, a lot of the people around them. This is their chance to play with the train set. For years and years and years, they've been sitting on the back benches in the House of Commons, seeing Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, Ed Miliband doing all the things they thought was wrong. They are not going to give this up without a fight, and what they really want is a fight. They would love Angela Eagle or Owen Smith to go up against them, because they think they will win again, and Jeremy Corbyn will put forward an even more hard left prospectus to the Labour Party membership. He will win, and then he will have the mandate to go on and on and on.
What do you think, Sonia?
Well, I certainly think that Matt's right. If Jeremy Corbyn were to win a second leadership election, I think that would almost be the end of the Labour Party as we know it. We know there are people in the hard left faction who are planning changes to the way that the party works, reducing the power of the Parliamentary Labour Party even further to ensure that the hard left could really sort of cement their grip on the party. But I kind of disagree with Matt. I can see why, if we look at both leadership contests, you would almost kind of wish that the Labour Party would show just a dash of the kind of ruthlessness that we've seen on the other side over the last kind of 10 days or so. But Labour is fundamentally in a different situation, and I think if Corbyn were to resign and to step down, that would just be a much, much better position for the party to be in, given the risks of going to a second leadership election with Jeremy Corbyn still on the ballot. I mean, of course, there are lots of legal questions about whether he would have the right to, but lots of people think it would be kind of inconceivable not for him to be on a leadership ballot if he was challenged. So I think, you know, in some ways the party are right to wait to see if, and I think that there is a chance that he may well stand down over the next week. That, you know, lots of people are saying behind the scenes that Corbyn himself wants to go. It's more that other people from his faction of the party are really trying to convince him to cling on. But with every day that passes, it's looking, you know, less and less sort of, less likely that he's going to be able to cling on. So I think people are right to wait.
Okay, Matt, let's widen the discussion, should we? I was looking at one of your tweets earlier on today. You say Tories need a new leader, Labour want a new leader, UKIP need a new leader, Greens need a new leader. Come on, Tim Farron, do the decent thing. But, you know, levity aside, which one of those parties do you think is facing the biggest challenge at the moment?
Well, we've sort of dealt with Labour. They're in real trouble, whether Corbyn stays or not. I think there's a real existential question about the Labour Party which existed there before, and which has all been brought to a head by that. UKIP have an existential crisis, if you like. They've campaigned for us to leave the EU. What now is the point of UKIP? There is this school of thought which says they should be making inroads into all those northern cities that backed Brexit in the referendum. When was it? A week and a bit ago. But Nigel Farage has decided he's not the man to do that, or he's decided he doesn't want to do it. Green Party, I don't think we probably need to spend a huge amount of time discussing. The Tory Party do have a problem. They are having a sort of fairly polite leadership campaign at the moment. But particularly if Theresa May wins, there is an issue about somebody who was on the Remain side, them being in charge of taking us out of the EU. And if the people on the Tory benches and in the country as a whole don't see Britain getting the exit from the EU that they wanted, that will cause real problems. And whoever becomes Tory leader and Prime Minister has to deliver what people felt they voted for on June the 23rd.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, it was only like 10 days ago, and yet it feels like it was a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Sonia, what do you think, from the outside looking in, about the battle at the top of the Conservative Party at the moment? It does look as though we may well have another female Prime Minister for the first time in more than a quarter of a century.
Yeah, I think that's looking very likely, which I think is really interesting. But I agree with Matt. I mean, we are, what Matt said about the Conservative Party is there's a selection on not just for the leader of the party, but for the future Prime Minister who's going to be responsible for the Brexit negotiations. And I think it's perhaps inevitable that we're not seeing it. But what you'd really want to see is the candidates for the Conservative leadership really putting out their vision for a post-Brexit Britain. And I think it's partly a hangover from the Leave campaign, where you had leading Leave campaigners like Boris Johnson, like Michael Gove, not really being clear about what the plan for a post-Brexit Britain was. But you're not really seeing the candidates still in the race, like Andrea Leadsom, Michael Gove, really setting out their vision now. I think there's still very much a kind of we can have our cake and eat it mentality. So I don't think we're really seeing the leadership candidates flesh out what their vision is. And on the UKIP side, I think it's interesting. I think there's certainly kind of an existential question, but there's also a massive opportunity for UKIP here. So first of all, if the new Conservative Prime Minister isn't really seen to bring home the best deal for Britain from negotiations with the EU, I think that could give UKIP a boost. But also, particularly with the Labour Party, and Matt's right that the Labour Party faces really major existential questions now about how to reconnect with its voters in heartlands that voted to leave the European Union. And there's a big opportunity for UKIP there. We know that Farage didn't go down particularly well in lots of kind of Labour seats. And so if they pick a leader, I think, who is kind of less polarising, who has real appeal for kind of Labour grassroots voters, they could actually be in quite a good position to challenge Labour in some of the heartlands. So there'll be many in the Labour Party very worried about that.
OK, just before I let you both go, I want to know who you're predicting for the top for the two main parties. There. Oh, go on. Go on.
I, at the moment, can't see Jeremy Corbyn going anywhere. I might be wrong. I mean, we've all been wrong over the last 10 days, but I think they haven't done it yet. I think there's a very strong chance they don't get him. At the moment, I can't see Theresa May being beaten, but it's going to be a long old summer. And particularly, I think we're really interested. The Tory Party has two women on the ticket over the summer, one for Remain, one for Brexit. I think it'll be interesting. I still think that Theresa May will end up winning.
I think we've all been wrong in the last 10 minutes, let alone the last 10 days. Things are moving so fast. Sonia, what about you?
Well, my money's on Theresa May as well, but as Matt said, as you just said, things have been so unpredictable in the last kind of couple of weeks. Things could really shift over the summer. In terms of Labour, I think Corbyn may well go over the next week, in which case I think it's quite likely you'd see Tom Watson being interim leader of the Labour Party and then a leadership contest later on down the line. I think if it does go to a contest, that there will be an agreement. There will only be one unity candidate. So Angela Eagle and Owen Smith are going to have to agree on that behind the scenes. And I think it will very much come down to the amount of support that both of them have. And the one with the most support from the Parliamentary Party will go through.
Great to talk to both of you. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Thanks a lot. I want to return to our breaking news now, and that's about a coroner who has raised concerns about police